All right, so here's some doomsday prepper tips from a doomsday prepper. Now, as a black prepper, I want to inform my community about certain mindsets that doomsday preppers have, certain mindsets that other communities have in an emergency scenario that many of us may or may not lack. For example, one thing about black people that I know is that we have this tendency to want to invite everybody to the cookout. And let me tell you something, in the world scenario, or in a scenario in which food becomes scarce and things become scarce, resources become scarce, maybe those eggs, maybe that pork, and maybe that beef that you like so much isn't so readily available. That mindset is something that other communities are not going to have. So I'm not saying to lack charity. When times are good, charity is fine. When times is bad, charity is a liability. Now, I'm known to feed the homeless, and I'm known to do that. And I will continue to do that because I have the resources. But for the average person out there, you're not sitting on a $500,000 property where you can have as many cows, chickens, goats, pigs as you want. You're not me, the average person, right? I have resources that are far beyond the average person. I mean, I have so many resources in terms of water that I'm far beyond even the average prepper. All right. So I'm telling you, for the average person, some of the mindsets that we have in the black community has to go. In the end of the world scenario, you have to start looking out for yourself. All right. I'm not saying to not look out for your neighbor. I'm not saying to not help your neighbor in an end of the world scenario, or in a scenario where food becomes scarce. But I liken this to the same advice that I would give someone in terms of an emergency scenario in which a plane is crashing. Don't try to help someone else get on their oxygen mask first. Get yours on first, and then help them. If you can't help yourself, if you know that food is scarce and you're giving away your last, that is not a good mindset to have. You need to have a different mindset. See, some people make emergency plans based on scenarios. I make it based on mindsets. For example, if I know that I have to have an elevated mindset, well, that lets me know that it must be pretty bad. So I prepare based on scenarios sometimes, but I also prepare based off of what I think the mindset should be based on the news that I'm hearing. And some people may see that as kind of silly, but it works for me. What works for you may not. What works for me may not work for you or the next person, but it works for me, right? And with that mindset, you can't be so inviting. That's another thing that the black community does a lot, that we have to, I wouldn't say get rid of, but maybe match other communities in terms of their energy, in terms of being so inviting, right? Because I'll give you a prime example, right? Prime example. Now, I've had this dog for less than 2 months now, and this dog already scares the crap out of mailmen, everybody else, because I've been training him to be a dog, and he sits right near me, and he just waits for anything. He just waits. That's all he does. Whereas you get a lot of black folks who will have their dog bark at somebody, and they'll instantly start scolding the dog. And I keep telling folks, stop doing that. All right, maybe your dog being aggressive is not always a bad thing. Okay, say you're a single woman and you're walking your dog at nighttime, and that dog barks every time a man comes near. Why would you scold your dog? Your dog's being a good buddy. In fact, you should probably reward that behavior, if anything. All right. So our inviting type of mentality, sometimes that can be a detriment. Because when emergencies pop up, the first thing that we do is open up our coffers, and then later on, what ends up happening is we get backstabbed. Prime example. Colorado, you had a couple black veterans. They were farmers. Their name escapes me for the moment, but these black farmers are being terrorized by their local community. And during the pandemic, these same black farmers, they were growing food, and they had livestock, and they were providing meat, vegetables, and all kinds of food to the local community, to help the community get past the pandemic. Right? Those same black farmers were terrorized by that community, and also the local sheriff's department. in Colorado. So that's not me saying don't be charitable. That's me saying in times of emergencies, I want you to realize the mindsets that people have. See, is what probably separates me from most journalists, right? Is that I'm able to combine certain mindsets together in a way that is so difficult for the average person to do, right? So understand, in an end-of-the-world scenario, or in a scenario in which food and resources become scarce, people instantly become tribalistic, right? So when you go to help that person, I want you to understand that person has a good chance of becoming tribalistic. And even if you help them, you helping them can be seen as a negative thing. You helping them can be seen as you looking down on them. Or you even desiring to helping them can be looked upon as you looking down upon them. Now, you can apply that statement to race, gender, I mean a lot of things. I just want you to understand people have that mindset. Now, this is only for doomsday prepper purposes. This video is only for doomsday prepper purposes. It's not meant for everyday life. I'm just saying, in case things go really south, just understand the mindset that people have when you approach them to help them. Okay? Because some people have that mindset, even though we are not in a a poop hits the fan, type of scenario yet. Even though we are not in an end of the world scenario, even though we are not in a doomsday preppers, wildest prediction so far, people already have that mindset. So just understand that sometimes when you help people, you helping them is seen as negative, especially when resources are scarce. Because let me point something out to you, black person. Say you are a person like myself, who has a bunch of land, who can grow a bunch of food, who has a bunch of livestock. Say I start giving out food, right? Say you have some people out there who have a certain adverse opinion of black people. First thing they're going to think is, where did this black person get all this stuff from? And I'm going to point something out to you. There's already folks already doing that right now. So, don't you tell me it wouldn't happen later in that kind of scenario. So, again, this whole video, this whole advice I'm giving you is for doomsday prepping situation in which things have gone very south. All right? I'm just telling you the mindset you have to have. Don't be so inviting. All right? Don't be so accepting. Keep your circle small. Keep your circle very small. And don't be so naive. That's all I got. Be safe out there.